Well guys, welcome to part 16 of the Sylvania clock radio restoration. I'm going to kick off this restoration by trying to clean up the shop just a little bit and get some stuff moved around and take care of some items that's been needing put away for some time. So first things first, I get this packing and boxes and all this stuff taken care of. I got a whole box full of bubble wrap and foam here that needed sorted out, papers and old schematics and crap that need thrown away, stuff I've got like multiple copies of. You know, these have gotten kind of damp just laying around too. So we're saying about being down here in this basement for a shop. I gotta run my old fan over there in the other room every so often and get some air circulating in here. So I'm gonna wrap up this situation real quick and we will get to work on that Sylvania chassis. I promise. I guarantee. It might happen today. We'll see. I'm sitting here for a while. I was kind of listening to the radio this morning and giving the old Sylvania a bath. And she's one grungy son of a gun. She's been taking a wet washcloth real lightly and running it over stuff. Now this thing never got a real good bath when I started tearing it apart about a year ago. It just got a quick wipe down. I got all the what I would call fuzz. It was the dust that was on top of the chassis. Just wiped off with a dry cloth or can of air or something. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. But that really brightened this up and brightened that dial pointer up. It's getting the grunge off of it. So now I got to go through here and just kind of clean and do some housekeeping around the tube sockets and whatnot. And I think that's going to be about it for the chassis. We got to adjust this trimmer capacitor right here to bring everything back into range where it's supposed to be on the dial, because right now 700 WLW is pretty much the mark between 7 and 8, and we want it closer to 7 where it's supposed to be. Now when this was aligned, the guy that did the work for me did the alignment on it. In his area, his stations were pretty much dead on, because he showed me 1090 on this radio while he had it out there, and it was right to the left of 11, spot on where it needed to be. Now back home here, it's off. Now what would have made the difference between where he lives and where I live as to locations of stations on this dial scale? Don't make no sense to me. But anyway, I'll dial it back into where it's supposed to be and get a little closer to 7, because I think some of the stations that are past 16 should be on this side of 16 back over in here. We'll take care of it. It's just one of them things. So I'll continue cleaning and keep you guys updated, and we'll get through this. Just hang in there. After a little bit of cleaning, you can see how dirty that thing was. Good Lord. Didn't look that bad, but a little bit of scrubbing and elbow grease. It brightened it up some, but my cleaning did reveal a little spot of rust right there I got to deal with. But other than that, she's pretty clean, besides the rust we have to deal with up here on the back side of this speaker. It's just a little bit of navel jelly put on there, and we'll clean it off, and then once we're done with that, we'll wipe this down real good and clean it up. Now I know I could clear coat everything on this to keep it from rusting again, but I'd have to mask off a ton of stuff. All the IF cans, you know, and all the tube sockets, the tuning condenser, I'd have to mask that up. I'm just going to let it go and keep an eye on it. I can see this from the back right here where this is at. Nothing obstructs it. So I just have to check in on it every so often, keep an eye on it. But what little I did clean up with some alcohol and some of the stubborn spots really showed me how much grime we had. That come off of the front dial scale, the gold piece out front here on the one end. It's like somebody smoked around this radio a lot. It was like a scummy, grimy crap that wouldn't come off. So we'll go ahead and take some of our navel jelly product here, and we'll put it into a little container here, and then we'll use our Q-tip and dip down in there, install it here and here. And anywhere else I might see some rust, I might put just a little bit on top of this tuning condenser right here to clean that up. But you don't want to get this down in them plates. That'll eat those aluminum plates right up, and then you'll be done. You might as well just chuck this out to the rumpke. So don't do that. Just don't even take the chance of getting it close, like along its backside. Just clean what you can clean up in here and brighten up whatever you want to do and go from there. The navel jelly product has been installed. I just did it via a Q-tip. We want to keep this product wet. You do not want to let it dry. It does incidentally say on the back of the bottle, if it does dry, apply more. Let it set a couple more minutes and work it around. It can be saved, but you don't want to let this dry. And this can be used and left on products up to 12-24 hours if you keep it wet. You got to keep it wet. So I installed a little bit across the top of the tuning gain condenser right here. Just on top, don't get down the plates, remember. This little spot here, I applied some on him. And I don't know why this speaker rusted so bad, right on top and around the edges. That's about the worst spot of the whole radio. I think I might do some right there too. He's looking kind of weird. Very strange how that speaker, maybe it's a different kind of the iron in the magnet or something drawed. I don't know. Just a hunch. So we'll let this sit. It's let's see. It's just about. It's after 11 o'clock, so we'll let this sit till just about 20 after, keeping it damp, and then we'll take our wet rag and wipe it off and see what the results are. Incidentally, as the navel jelly dries, we wait a few more minutes on it. The speaker cone was repaired while this was out at my friend's house, and I had forgotten we had some pretty rough looking tears or some scrapes in this speaker. I don't really remember how bad it was, to be honest with you, but he fixed her up, made it solid again. It looks like he might have used his favorite piece in his arsenal besides navel jelly, which looks like liquid tape. He did a nice job on that, and it sounded good when it played. So that liquid tape does work. I've used it on a couple radios, just patching some small spots, and incidentally, rubber cement does work pretty well, pretty good as well, I should say. Alright guys, the rust, as you can see, is gone. Stuff works pretty good. Our spot there, I'm not sure what this is. It won't come off. It's not rust. It's like a stain of some kind. And the rust is gone here, here, and here. And I cleaned this up with some navel jelly. That did a pretty good job brightening that back up. But I figured, you know, it should be properly clear coated, because you don't want to leave bare metal just open to the elements. It's going to draw rust sure enough. So I thought, well, being I've just got a few spots here, here, and some spots up here that I just kind of touched. I didn't coat this whole thing. I just touched the spots where I seen the rust at. And same thing on the basket. I just decided, and don't tell on me, because we don't want to get in trouble. I borrowed some of my wife's clear nail polish and just kind of spot treated some spots here and sealed that up. I'm not sure what the heck would have got hot there, or what that would have been from. Maybe from oil in the clock motor, stained that. The sealer kind of accented that just a little bit. We sealed all this up, being careful not to get anything down them tuning plates. So let's go ahead and put our tubes back in. We're getting close. We're getting real close. And make sure everything still works properly.
Longer one of the named portfolio managers, but that really hasn't changed the name.
Alright, we're back to playing. Everything's back in. It looks good. Looks real good. I'm very impressed with the way this radio is looking so far. Look how much brighter that dial is than what it was so dingy. But now what we need to do is take our screwdriver and adjust this trimmer right here on the side of our variable capacitor. And right now we're listening to 700 WLW out of Cincinnati, and it's reading right just to the left of the dot, which is indicating 750 on this dial. So let's turn it up and listen. And I'm going to put my screwdriver on this trimmer screw, and as I turn it towards me, it ought to turn everything on the dial towards 7. as I tune it away from me, it would tune it more towards 8.
Years ago, I would have
So,
said absolutely no problem with you owning this. Jeff Gunlock, you know,
set
is the
this down
portfolio
here.
manager, absolutely knocks it out of the park, zero problem.
You can watch me here.
However, two things.
So let's go ahead and put this on our screw.
Our exposure to these types of bombs.
And we'll turn it towards us.
Jeff Gunlock is no longer with Matt West. Went out and is with Double Line Total Return. Does
And let's tune our radio a little bit.
exposure to the portfolio that you had maybe when you bought the fund. You're going to have to sell Matt West on Monday and move into that Double Line Total Return.
Well, we're getting closer.
But again,
we're about
for the California market neutral,
7:30.
just dump it, put it into something else a little bit better performing within your portfolio. If you want me to take a look at things, send me an email, Andy@mutualfundshow.com.
Turn it a little bit more.
That's what we would do.
New York is next. Joe's going to join us here on
Okay, let's tune this back.
Tax deferred annuity. It was with New York City Health and Hospitals. The money
Still not
that I
quite
put
yet.
in,
I tell you what,
and it's been a 60.
let's just set the dial on 7, right in the center of that dot, and we'll bring it to us. And we're looking for the best, clearest, strongest sounding signal we're getting from the radio. Here it comes.
Joe's explaining the former, which it is part of an old 403B. Those of you who have 401ks or 401As, this is the
Too
same
far.
type
Let's
of
go back.
tax deferring
We're looking
that
for the
goes
clearest,
out of your
strongest
paycheck
sound we
and
get out of this
into
radio.
a retirement account. So he did this with a municipality, New York City Health and Hospital, and it has just been sitting there, and he's left it sitting there. Joe, what you can do is you can roll that over to a rollover IRA. Andy, I think Monday morning I would do that, no questions at all.
I think that sounds
Absolutely
pretty
not.
darn
So,
good.
yeah, you want to get this moved.
Right back on
You have
7.
a limited number of choices now. They're not all bad.
So let's go check some of our other stations and see how close we are now. Before, 55 was coming in about right there. Now I got the computer on next to me, so that probably really isn't helping me a whole lot. Pretty good.
Of you get the dollars in.
I hate you, I really hate you so much, I think it must be true.
Champion is one of America's top rooms inside. Champion designs and builds, installs it, and guarantees it.
That'd be about 980 out of Dayton. I'm just getting too much doggone interference down here to even try to pick anything up. Tell you what we could also do is get ourselves another radio, preferably one that might have a digital readout, and see about where our radio is coming in at, our stations are coming in at. 'Cause some of these still seem kind of funky, even though I'm...
Here are the big stories you'll be talking about on Big One. Motorcycle rider is in serious condition after a crash last
Even though I'm
night in
dead on
Brentwood.
700 there, I get back down this way, where 55 should be. Should be about right there. It's about 560 or so, but I know it ain't gonna be accurate. The scale might not be laid out accurate. I don't know.
Some kids around, no serious injuries were reported yesterday.
But I think I can live with that. That's pretty decent.
The investigation is ongoing. A Norwood native is going to jail for life without parole. Army Staff Sergeant Robert Bales was convicted of killing 16 Afghan civilians while serving in Afghanistan. He told the court he was sorry for his crimes. In a News Radio 700 WLW Reds update, the Brewers beat the Reds last night 6-4. They'll try again tonight with Game 2 at 7:10 p.m. Our coverage starts with the Royal Shell Vacation inside pitch at 6:06. right here on the big one. I'm Allison Wyant. Our next update at 12 o'clock and breaking news anytime at 700WLW.com.
On demand.
Alright, I think I can live with that. It's pretty good. We got a little bit of rattle in our speaker. Something just a hair loose. I'm going to check that out before I put it back in the cabinet. Might have a crack or something right up there at the end. That's where I put my hand at it, or finger at it, quit. And in part 16, I just wanted to give you a look at what this radio should look like once it's properly put back into its case. And this is the closest this thing's been to full functionality in quite some time. I got some clock hands here that want to stick occasionally. Needles are kind of goofed up. They've never been right since the beginning. They want to hook each other. But the time's a little fast, I think. I think it's only about 1/4 till. But the clock does keep time, and
that out of that PRIX and just moved it into a money market fund. And so now I'm not kind of balanced that way, and you know, the 60/40, and so I'm just trying to figure out, do you think that was a decent move, or should I look to getting back to the 60/40, or just looking for some advice here?
First and foremost, this is the most important thing that I want you to take away from this. Is that you're within 2 years of retirement. You are in a very critical.
let's find some music. That second hand and that minute hand are not agreeing. Well, folks, she sounds pretty darn good. So for part 16, guys, I want to say thanks for watching. And pretty much all we're down to is cleaning the cabinet. We got to put this front glass back on. I got it off right now because I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. It's just it's a mess. And we got to put the gold looking piece back on here around the clock hands and put the back on. I'm going to clean this up hopefully in the next day. Tomorrow I hope to get this cleaned up, that old paint out of there, and then repaint it red and clear coat it and get it all put back together, guys. Thanks for watching.